Welcome back to another episode of This is the Bet. Now we're diving into Utah versus Baylor today, and as the title shows, is 6 too low of a spread for this Utah team? Or is this a pretty fair line coming off the loss with Baylor? Now, as was said, spread for this game, 6 in favor of the Utes. Now, the Utes are coming off that win against Florida. And a Florida team that you could say was not playing their best football that we've seen in the past from Florida. This could be a bad team this year. Definitely did not show glimmers of hope in that game against Utah. So there's a question: is this Utah offense for real and can show improvement, or are they going to struggle in this season? So should they meet a better defense than this Florida team? Now, some of the stats from the Utah-Florida game that stood out to me: Utah's defense holding Florida to 0.6 yards per carry and 7% on third down conversions. Is this something they can carry over to Baylor? I believe so. Yeah, from what I saw with the run defense, showing up big on third downs. They're definitely not going to hold Baylor to 7% as they did Florida, but look for that to be something more in that 20 to 30% range. Now, yards per point. This is one I like to look at when looking at these games. Yard per point to start the season. This is how many yards they have to go to score 1 point. And it was at 11.3. And they went 29% on third down conversion. So those are two things to look at. The 11.3 showing a little bit of efficiency from the offense. But that 29% showing not showing up on those third downs. Look for that to come into play against Baylor, leading to this for them covering this spread. Now on to Baylor. This was a tough loss for Baylor against Texas State. This is a Baylor team that saw their 95% win probability slip to 0. A Texas State team that went 4-8 last season. Now, the coach, David Arnada, after that game, did have some words to say, as you would expect the pressure to be on him greatly. He said there's a level of detail that it takes to execute and a level of detail it takes to win. And unfortunately, we did not have that tonight. I take full responsibility for that. You can't hide from a loss like this. A 4-8 Texas State team. You can't. You just cannot hide from this, especially a home game. This raises a lot of questions for who this Baylor team is. Is this a week one? Players didn't, as the coach said, did he not get them up for this game? It's hard to think that a home game, week one, your players don't come with some excitement. Or is this a Texas State team that got a little more excited and came to play? We'll go ahead and look at some stuff that stood out to me. Baylor was 44% on third down conversions. That's a decent number. It's not the most not the most efficient, but how good was that Texas State defense? What's that going to look like against Utah, who held, as I said, Florida to 7%? Let's look at 16.9 yards per point. Not as efficient. Watch for that against Utah. Can this Baylor team find some glimmer of hope, become a little more efficient? And then 39% opponent third down percentage. Can this come into play against Utah, who, as I said, 29% on their third down conversions? Now, diving into some trends that could play a part in this game, dove into some of the history. Baylor under David Arnada is 5-6 following a loss with an average margin at -0.8. how much value do you put on past results? It's the same coach, right? He's there. How well does he get his players up for the next game? And looking at that, them being +6, are they going to be able to cover that spread with when they're, their average margin of victory at that -0.8? On to Utah. Under Whittingham, they're 96-44 following a win with a margin of victory of 10.9. That 10.9 would be enough to cover the spread. Now, as I said, these are past. That's a lot of games under Whittingham's belt. But it shows, as he's been with the program, he's got a way of those games following a win to win another. So there's the question. If you had to ask me, where's my money going on a spread of 6 with Baylor, Utah? It's leaning towards Utah. Will Cam Rising play? That'll be another factor that goes into it. This is an early look. I haven't checked news on what would go into that. That would greatly affect this line if Cam Rising is to play. But if you had to ask me right now where it's going, I'd put it on the Utes. I'd put it on the Utes to come in and keep the momentum going. I'm hoping for a great game. The Vegas has it at 6 for a reason. This is following the win of Utah, at least from the books I've seen. That could greatly change this week. I don't know if you can actually get it at that price around, but look to see how far this line goes in either directions. And I'm interested to see in the comments where you all see this game going. Does Utah cover this spread? And do we get a blowout win in Waco, or is this a Baylor team that simply struggled week 1 and will come to play? So if you like content like this, weekly breakdowns, deep dives into statistics for what it's worth, go ahead and drop a like. Go ahead and subscribe. It means a lot to us. And thank you so much.